Welcome back, everybody. Today we're in for a special treat. We have another Guitar for the Practicing Musician magazine to review. This is from February of 1984. You recall January 84 edition was with Quiet Riot, Kevin Dubrow, and Carlos Cavazos. Now we're in for a special treat. We have the legendary Jeff Beck. So stay tuned. Join me as we go page by page, goof on some of the
Hey bud, what's your problem?
In 1984. Check out the latest gear, see what was happening, look at the latest guitars, the guitarists, the bands that they're basically showcasing you. Oh, and this magazine has a lot of interesting sheet music. So when we get to the sheet music, I will pause it for a few seconds so that if you're interested, you can go ahead and take a screenshot of all the sheet music. All right, I'm Tony. You're here at the Headbangers Hideout here at KGTR. Subscribe, click the notification bell, and any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them below. Let's get to it. Let's review page by page. Guitar for the Practicing Musician, February 1984, featuring the legendary Jeff Beck. Alright, here we go. Look at this vintage magazine. Look, Guitar for the Practicing Musician, February 1984. Where were you in February of 1984? Some of you may not have been born yet. Others, you're my age or older, closing on 60 or older. And so 84 was awesome for 80s heavy metal. You were in there. You got to see bands emerge from the ashes, playing the clubs, to getting signed, to getting videos on MTV, non-stop airplay, elbowing each other out to see who can headline, because that was the whole thing. Sell records, get popular, and headline. You wanted to be a headliner, because that means you made it. Yes, you can open up for a lot of bands, but your goal back then was to headline, right? So that was I remember from 1984. I remember in 84, Van Halen's album came out in 84, Out of the Cellar in 84, Tooth and Nail, Dawkins 84, you had Ronnie James Dio, Loudness. Oh, you have so many bands coming out and just getting started. And then behind the scenes, you had bands like, believe it or not, you had bands like Stryper. You had bands like Black and Blue. They were out there. Remember Autograph? Autograph was out there. Turn up the radio. And Black and Blue. Who? Hold on to 18. Oh, I'm showing you my age, but I love. 1984 was awesome. So this magazine, look, up on top, $12 worth. $12.50. How stupid. You don't get $12 worth. You get $12.50 worth of guitar music. What's that 50 cents in, right? You look, Jeff Beck, look at this. Look at this little floating bridge right here. Apparently he did his own little guitar tech himself, where he has this bridge floating. So that's why he can always pull up and stay in tune. So look, we have Jeff Beck, Iron Maiden, Steve Harris. So this has obviously some interviews with Steve Harris. And look, we have sheet music for Freeway Jam, She's a Woman, Hit Me With Your Best Shot with Pat Benatar, Green Flower Street, and with bass lines for Phantom of the Opera. And obviously, look, sadly, because look at my edition here, I tore it up here. But we're going to go inside and open her up and see what was happening. And lastly, when I get to the sheet music, I'm going to go by fairly quickly, but enough time for you to take a screenshot. All right, because we don't need to bore you with all this sheet music. But if there's a particular song or sheet music tabs that you see here that you want me to upload in its entirety, I can do that in a separate video and just say, by popular request, here's the sheet music to Iron Maiden's blah blah blah, or to Jeff Beck's blah blah blah. But I would say that 90% of this sheet music, remember this is 84, a lot of this stuff you can probably find online in 2025 if you typed in sheet music for this artist or sheet music for this particular song or tabs for this song. I'm sure someone's already done it, and with the advent of Google you can pretty much find anything. So I would say try that avenue first if you're interested in tabs or sheet music, or whoever. Try Google, and if I happen to have it on this video, I'll be happy to upload it separately. All right, let's open her up. This magazine has 95 pages, and let's go ahead. We'll zoom in where appropriate. We'll try to zoom in. But right here, you see my cursor? I have this whole, my video is right here. So if I blow it up real fast, see, you only get to see what's in here, right? Because I blew it up. Outside of this area, you can't see on my left, you can't see on my right. So whenever I blow up, it's just the way it is. All right, well, let's get back to the magazine. I opened her up. Look, Tom Schultz. These are all the artists who swear by this Rockman amplifier. James Burton, Rick Derringer, Al Di Meola, Elliot Easton. Now, this magazine came out in '84 February, so it's safe to say these guys were using it back in '82, '83. Elliot Easton, Billy Gibbons, John Hammer, Justin Hayward, Alan Holdsworth, Pat Metheny, Ronnie Montrose, Steve Morse, Carlos Santana, of course Neil Schon, Joe Walsh, and of course Tom Schultz. So everybody wanted this chorus in a box. I played with, I don't think I ever owned one, but I did borrow a friend's, and it was like, wow. And it just sounds better with headphones, but if you're able to connect this with a stereo amp and speakers through your rig, it'll sound glorious. But this sounded amazing with your headphones. So it's just something about Tom Schultz and his circuitry and genius, where he created the best chorus of all time in the 80s, hands down. The best chorus ever created was by Tom Schultz. And a lot of people and bands and guitarists and musicians had to have that chorus in their music. You can add it to your keyboards, add it to your bass, add it to your vocals, but you add it to your guitar, and you can have crunch, beautiful coral crystal choruses, angelic chorus. Oh, the Rockman was amazing. So here we go, the Rockman model. What's this called? Let me boost. I can't read that far. Oops. Okay, this is the Rockman Model 2B, designed to meet the demands. Look at that. So that's what this one was called, the 2B. Oops. Let me scroll back there. There we go. All right, there we go. Is that good? All right, let me see what else. There we go. All right, so the next page, again, this is what now, the fifth issue of Guitar for the Practicing Musician I've already done. And again, in the second page, we have G&L guitars with the Cavalier. Again, the same damn guitar in 5 straight issues. Middle of 83 to now the beginning of 84, they're still pushing this Cavalier. I don't see anything. I don't see the bells and whistles, but let me know what I'm missing. You want me to blow her up? Look, let's blow her up. Look at that, look at that ugly headstock. Look, I blew her up. See, I'm blowing her up. Isn't that ugly? There's nothing, and then let's see, what else? What if I did that and go like this? Does that help you? Look at that ugly bridge, look. Alright, see, look, I'm blowing her up. Excuse me. Isn't this ugly? This is the nastiest looking bridge, right? And these pickups are ugly. This guitar is ugly. And this guitar is probably like a little fortune too. And this guitar is ugly. It is. Let me get back in frame. Alrighty, hold up. Alright, there we go. Okay. So let's get to the next page. So there you go again, Cavalier. Sorry, Gino, but that's an ugly guitar. Alright, so here we go. What's next? Tremolo systems, the Kaler. So look, the Kaler was Floyd Rose's biggest competition. Floyd Rose would tell you, there's no competition to the Floyd Rose. But Kaler said, hey, you patented your method, we got our method. This was just really bulky. It was, some people thought it was too cumbersome. It wasn't as good as the Floyd. Some people preferred it over the Floyd. So, but they came with Ibanez guitars. And the Super Strats came with the Floyd Rose if you wanted it. You paid a premium for it, but you got the Floyd Rose on your Super Strats. Charbels, Kramers. This is 84. So Kramers would have Floyd Rose. Charbels would have Floyd Rose. They were licensed. Like Kaler, Ibanez had Kaler. So there you go. Look at this. Alex Lifeson. Look at that beautiful guitar here. Look at this little bridge and this little vibrato bar. Look at these pickups here. Look at that. So he knows what he likes for his bridge and neck pickup right here. Alex Lifeson. Steve Morse, again, another incredible guitar player. He's played with this guitar forever. Who's he playing with? He's playing with Steve Howe. Look at this. Steve Howe. Guitar virtuoso. Overall, very, very popular in the 70s. So was Steve Morse. Look at this. So, I don't know if this is a pose for the article, or if this was actually a live shot for when they jammed together. So if there's a video out there of Steve Morse and Steve Howe, look for it. Let me know if it's out there, because if this performance was recorded, it'd be great to hear it. Or audio. Alright, look at Neil Schon. Look at Neil Schon. This guy was badass. Underrated guitar player. Phenomenal with Carlos Santana. Awesome with Journey. And he can shred. Very bluesy, very tasty. He can play everything. Classical stuff, jazzy stuff, progressive, rock. He can play metal. He can shred, tear your face off. He can play melodic, beautiful, slow stuff. This guy's good. So, look at Pat Benatar, my queen. I love Pat Benatar. Remember Quarter Flash? See, I forgot the name of the lady in Quarter Flash. But Quarter Flash had a couple of hits. She was trying to compete with Pat Benatar and find another fool to love you, something like that. But Quarter Flash reminded me of Pat Benatar because she's trying to be like Pat Benatar, but she had a saxophone as for doing the solos. But anyways, Quarter Flash was good, but she was like a cheap knockoff of Pat Benatar. She only lasted like about 2 albums and then disappeared quietly. Pat Benatar still plays today, so this was her. She came out in the 70s, and she's still playing, 5 decades later. That's awesome. Look at this, look. Dynamite comes in small packages. Look at this PV. Look, I'm gonna blow it up, see what it says here, okay? Let's see right here. Can you read that right there? That's obviously I'm cutting it off the frame right there, but look. I want you to see the photograph. Look. Look at this. Does that look good? Look at this. Who uses this stuff? I'm trying to get it out of frame. Or back in frame. Let's see. There we go. So, this is amazing. Look at that. Alright. The best of all worlds. Lexicon. Look at this. Lexicon. Doesn't that look sweet? Oh, everybody was using Lexicon back then. Alright, here's the index for February of 84. Again, table of contents, departments, articles, features, sheet music, and so on. Letters to the editor, Alright, again, snail mail, write a letter, put it in the envelope, lick a stamp on it, snail mail, get there in about a week or so. Hopefully, someone gets it at the publishing company or the guitar company, and they may get hundreds of them, and they'll pick yours, and if you're lucky, you'll make it into the magazine. But don't forget, they may get hundreds of letters. They may publish 4 or 5. They'll chuck the rest, and then get a new batch of letters for the next edition. So you may have to keep writing to get noticed, if that was important to you. Alright, look at this. Michael Schenker. Remember the last issue? Had a big article on Michael Schenker. Let me know if you want me to. Oh yeah. So I'm not going to go through these interviews because I'm not going over interviews with you. But if there's any interviews on these magazines that, hey, Tony, you glanced at that interview pretty quickly, I want to know what it says. I'll be happy to re-upload the interview portion in a separate video, and I can just say, hey, flashback, interview with Michael Schenker, February 1984, video. It's like 4 minutes long, right? So then this way I'll blow it up where you can see the video or the interview. So let me know if you want me to do that. Any particular interviews from these articles or magazines that I upload for you that you have to find or you have to read, you can't find them or get them, I'll be happy to upload separate interviews for you and just blow them up. But let me know. Alright, Play It Like It Is by Ray D'Amato. Hit Me With Your Best Shot, of course, Neil Giraldo, brilliant guitar player from Pat Benatar. Look, here we go. These are the chords right here. Or Hit Me With Your Best Shot. So there you go. Take a screen grab. There you go. Again, you learn the chords. You can do all the whatnot. There you go. So I can make videos of just the sheet music if that's what you want for a particular song. Open Ears, again, the article by Steve Morris. More from the interview. Donald Fagen on songwriting. So you want to learn about songwriting? This is his take on songwriting, the do's and don'ts. There we go. Martin Marquis, acoustic bronze guitar strings. Green Flower Street by Donald Fagen. All right, look at all these chords. This song has a lot of chords. So once you learn these chords, you can pop them in this song right there. All right, there you go. Now, I never personally heard of the song. Maybe I would remember it if I heard it, but I don't remember too much of Donald Fagen. At least not in 1984. I was into metal in 84 and new wave in 84. I didn't know Donald Fagen. All right, remember T-Bone Walk from Hollow Notes? This is his article on bass. This little lesson. All right, look, the B-52s. New wave, 1984. They were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They came out in 77. And I remember them on SNL. They had a few of their early albums right up there with Devo. They were this very new wave, obscure. And it was great. They came at the right time, right place, and started all this keyboard electronic stuff. It was good. I love it. And the guitar. Look, Larry Carlton. So if you're interested in Larry Carlton, let me know. Guitar Secrets by Rick Derringer. What do you say about that? Look, again, Navy Wireless. So this advertising company seems to advertise, or this magazine puts this advertisement into the guitar column of Rick Derringer. I noticed that. So he must have like a small little column and they just slapped this ad right there. All right, Freeway Jam by Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck is a monster guitar player. These are the chords to the song. Right, once you learn the song, just pop them in here. So there you go. There's some more of it. Freeway Jam. And again. And again. And there we go. This is all Freeway Jam. And there you go. What a long song, huh? A long song Freeway Jam is. I haven't gotten to the damn articles yet. All right, look, again, here's that ad again. So this is the tablature explanation. So when people say, oh, I can't read tabs. This right here, I'll blow it up for you. Look, let me blow it up for you. And there you go. It just tells you right here, look. See, it tells you what the notes say and so forth. But because my image is in a frame, when I blow it up, certain parts of the image leave the frame. I can't move it left or right. I can go up and down, but I can't go left or right. So, excuse me for that, all right? All right, Jeff Beck, The Art of Reputation Maintenance. So this is obviously going to be an article on the legendary master, Jeff Beck. And, yeah, so I don't know if this is the article. Oh, no, this is the instrumental years. So I don't know if this is going to be an interview or an article. Let me see. It's an article, so they're not interviewing him, but it's about Jeff Beck. So, let me know if you want me to blow that up for you. All right, She's a Woman, another great song by Jeff Beck. Look at all the chords that you would have to learn. There's all the fingering, so it's pretty simple right there. And here's the song. I'm going to blow through it. Again, if you're interested, just go ahead and take a screenshot. And, but I would say, before you contact me, remember this is 1984, this is 2025, I'm sure this song is out there with tabs on Google, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's somebody out there on YouTube that has a guitar lesson on these songs. So that's another avenue you can try. Oh, I want the tabs. Well, if I don't have the tabs, I'm sure you can look up these songs on YouTube, and more than likely there's someone out there who's already made a guitar lesson on these songs, where you can just basically rewind the video and look at their fingering and the chords and learn it that way too. So I forgot about YouTube too. So back then they gave you tabs and sheet music. So unless you had a really good ear And you can learn songs off the record or tape, which a lot of us could do. Many can't do. But I can't read music. Many people can read music. So it's like an offset. I can't read music, so I had to like hear it and learn it for myself. Vice versa. If there was no YouTube, I'd have to, again, either learn by myself by ear, but if I wanted to learn music in theory, I'd have to sit down and learn how to read music, which I don't know how to do. So, look at Jeff Beck. Phantom of the Opera. This is the bass lines for Phantom of the Opera, Iron Maiden. Again, let's go by this because I don't think that many people are interested in the bass lines. Alright, there we go. Look. Iron Maiden. Look at this. Pure leather, pure metal, right there. Look at this. Look at the red shoes. It always reminds me of Ozzy Osbourne when he performed live during the Diary of a Madman tour. He always had these red shoes with his little outfit. That's what I think of. Look at this bass. Very popular bass. So here is an interview. So if you want this interview, you can see, like, if I blow it up, you know, there it is right there. But I can keep it in frame. But let me know. I can always, you know, upload it for you, the interviews, if you're interested. So this is the interview with Iron Maiden right there. The Soul of Heart. Oh, look at Heart. They're still playing. I granted someone's in like a chair or wheelchair, but they're still playing Heart. So, bless them. Alright, this is the article on Heart. Look at that. They came out in the 70s. Barracuda. Had some great hits in the 80s. And, more advertisements right here. Alright, John Sykes. Remember John Sykes? Before and after Lizzie. So, he just passed away. An aspiring gold medalist presents his resume. So, look at this. John Sykes before and after. So, pretty cool, huh? I believe this is all John Sykes right here. I gotta look at the gear right here. Look at that. There we go. Pedal board, speakers, microphones, rack. Alright, look, Iron Maiden. More of the interview with Steve Harris. There it is right there. More of the interview. Vinyl score where they're rating albums by the latest bands. Remember this right here? Look, music, features, and photos. This magazine we just reviewed 2 magazines ago. This was, I believe, the December of '83 issue. And we capped off the January of '84 with Kevin Dubrow and Carlos Cavazos. Well, look, there it is. There's that guitar right there. Alright, stay in tune. High quality musical instrument strings. So, SIT strings. There you go. Visual track top 10 for 1983. So these are the videos that they recommend that were great. These are tablature explanations for any of the songs, sheet music. Once you understand this, then you'll be able to tackle all the sheet music according to this magazine. Alright, Guitar Wars. Let's see what Guitar Wars here. Look. So here's what people wanted you to do. These are the guitar entries, and everyone can print this out. So they'd have all the guitar players. I'm going to blow this up. You would submit it, mail it in, and then they will tell you who won Guitar Wars. So if I blow this up a little bit, there. You have Eddie Van Halen versus Dave Murray of Iron Maiden. Eddie wins right there, right? Billy Gibbons versus Keith Richards. Probably Billy Gibbons. Richie Blackmore versus Glenn Tipton. Toss up. Angus Young versus Gary Moore. Well, what are you looking for? Guitar shred or guitar player? Probably Gary Moore. Eric Clapton versus Mark Knopfler. Eric Clapton. Steve Howe versus Tom Schultz. Steve Howe. But they're both geniuses. Alex Lifeson versus Frank Zappa. That's a toss-up. Look at this. Randy Rhoads. Look at this. 1984. Randy Rhoads versus Steve Lukather. Well, that's not fair because Lukather became more popular as he got older. And he has more of a resume than Randy. But Randy can hold his own. At least he's in there. Pete Townsend or Jerry Garcia. Pete. Jeff Beck or Tony Iommi. Probably Jeff Beck. Michael Schenker versus Carlos Cavazos. That's Michael Schenker. I'm not saying they're better, but Michael Schenker can play. Look, Neil Sean versus Phil Collin of Def Leppard. Neil Sean. Jimmy Page versus Brad Gillis. I'm going to go with Brad Gillis. Andy Summers versus David Blackmore. David Gilmore, sorry. I'm going to go with Andy Summers. But look, who's off this list? If this is February of 84, there's no Akira Takasaki. There's no Warren DeMartini. There's no J.K. Lee, right? They're not talking, at least they're not talking about him yet. There's no George Lynch. There's no Vivian Campbell. There's no Ace Frehley. There's no Vinnie Vincent. So they're leaving guitar players out. But obviously, clearly, Eddie Van Halen would blow everybody away. So the winner would be Eddie Van Halen. So this was probably for a issue that was going to come out down the road where everybody would tear this out. They'd fill in their people who they would see beating out each other. Guitar Wars. And they'd probably put Eddie right here. Submit it, put your age in, and then maybe you won a prize or something. Or they would just basically announce the winner of Guitar Wars. Right? There's the lists. Again, for Omega Strings. Oh, look, Ovation. I've always wanted this. The Ovation. Because it was rounded, but it was thin. The Ovation, round back, bold, unique. I love Ovation. I thought they sounded great plugged in. I always wanted the thin version. If I ever had an Ovation, I wanted it to be the thin version with the cutaway. Alright, and that is it. That was the last page. That was the back of the issue, and this was the front cover of the issue. So what do you think about the February 1984 edition of Guitar for the Practicing Musician featuring the legendary Jeff Beck? Now, obviously, I'm not going to go over every interview, but if you're interested in the particular interview moving forward, then I'll be happy to say, okay, this video is going to cover the interview with Jeff Beck in 1984, and then I'm going to blow it up, and I'll read it to you, and then we can read it together so we know what was happening, what they were saying back in 1984. If you're interested in any particular interview, because I'm not here to go over the interview, but if you want me to do it like a recap of the interview, I'd be happy to do a recap of the interview. Obviously, I don't have any guests, but I can basically go over the substance of the magazine. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Hope you're enjoying this series. Stay tuned for obviously more guitar magazine reviews, guitar tone videos. As I've already mentioned before, I'm sharing with you my entire guitar collection. I'm going to do them. I already got my video. I have several videos of my entire collection in the can. I got all my photos of all my guitars in the can. Now I'm just doing, bringing out one guitar at a time, recording a few little snippets, trying to keep it under 10 minutes, 7 minutes, where I pretty much bring out the guitar, no talking. I'll give a description of the guitar in the video, and I'm just going to play like maybe 30-second to 1 minute sound bites so you can hear the guitar in various tones. Just say, oh, that guitar is nice, or that guitar sounds like crap, or what a cool guitar. Next guitar, and next. So stay tuned for that. Guitar collection video reviews, magazine reviews, guitar tone videos, and I'll get back to my concert review footage very soon. But right now we're just having too much fun, reminiscing about the good old days of 80s heavy metal. Alright, I'm Tony. Thanks for watching here at KGTR. I'll see you all real soon in the next video.